Hey everyone, welcome to today's mini course, and today we're going to be giving a little presentation on structuring your business so that it looks professional to the banks, okay? Because the banks, as we said, they are your business partners. These are your investors. And just like you're going to a job interview, if you're putting on a suit and tie, right, you're looking all professional, you want to put your best foot forward with your business as well. And the banks want to invest in serious businesses. They don't want to invest in something that doesn't seem like it's active. And so it's really important that you structure your business and make it look legitimate for the banks, right? Get it ready for that funding, and really put your best foot forward. So that all being said, grab your notebooks and let's jump right in. The first step is going to be formalizing your legal entity, right? So this is a super basic first step, but it's just like have an LLC, okay? Go create a business. Now, you can go create a business with the SOS, Secretary of State website with your state directly if you want. You can look up a simple Google or YouTube video on how to do that, or you could always pay a few $100s to a trusted third-party service. Some that we recommend are going to be LegalZoom, InkFile, or Rush Filing, right? Go somewhere trusted, somewhere that's done a lot of business, and they can get you set up pretty quickly. They can also make some good recommendations, and they're going to make sure that you get your articles over to you. Because when you're forming a new business, you're going to need that stack of paperwork so that you can show the banks, hey, my business is professional, it is legitimate, and it is up to date, right? So classic stuff here. And then another thing is a lot of you doing research might be hearing stuff about like setting up a C Corp or an S Corp. You don't really need to worry about that. To be honest, that's not really having anything to do with your business structure. That's really just a tax classification. And if you want to get into C Corps, S Corps, even like 501cs, nonprofits, you can go talk to a tax expert about that, right? I'm not a tax expert, so definitely recommend talking to a tax professional about how to classify your taxation for your business. But for business funding, the banks do not care if it's a C Corp, if it's an S Corp. It doesn't need to be like Apple or Tesla, right? Any old brick and mortar S Corporation or even like a sole prop could even work. But the big thing is this. You need to have a business name. You need to have an EIN, so a business tax ID. And the banks will use this tax ID to distinguish your business from other businesses. And then you also need to have a business address, right? Now, for the business address, if you want to set up a virtual address, that can work. A residential address is also fine, right? So a lot of consultants or remote workers will set up remote addresses because they work remotely, or residential addresses. But important thing here, do not have your business at a P.O. box, okay? A P.O. box is not an address. That's not somewhere that you can actually work from. And we also don't recommend using the registered agent address as your business address, simply because that's not really an office that you are working at either, okay? Now, the next step after you legitimize your business is going to be maintaining your records. And this is actually a huge pitfall that we see clients fall into. Okay, it seems simple, but it's not always simple. And here's why. Number one, don't lose your documentation, right? Maintaining business records is a non-negotiable. And when you're applying for business credit, this is really going to facilitate a smooth application process when you're seeking that bank funding. So you want to have your articles of incorporation or organization. If you're in a state that requires it, you're going to have a certificate of good standing. Keep your EIN letter. Banks ask for this all the time, the EIN letter. And hold an operating agreement, right? Especially if you have a business partner. Because the operating agreement is another thing that, especially if you have business partners, these banks are going to be asking for quite often. So, right, have a physical folder or have a folder on your computer, however you want to do it, but have one centralized place where you hold all of this documentation, because you will need it on hand at some point or another, right? I can guarantee you that. The banks will ask for it one way or another. And then the other thing that sort of comes secondary to this is updating your public records for your business when you make changes. And this is where a lot of clients fall into that pitfall, okay? Is if you are changing your business name, or if you are adding a business partner onto your business, or maybe you're moving from one state to another, so your business address is going to change, you need to update that with the Secretary of State first and foremost. And the reason is because when banks are looking up your business, they're going to be looking at the Secretary of State. That's the first place they look. Is this business with the Secretary of State? And They're going to see your business address, the date your business was formed. If you have any business partners, might even be on there depending on your state. So these are things that you need to update with the Secretary of State. And you can always do this by filing what's called an article of amendment or a statement of information, which is required yearly in most states. And so when you update information about your business with the Secretary of State, and then you go to your banks and you say, hey, this is my business address, all of that stuff will be aligned. And this is really what's going to create that smooth application process for you, because the banks aren't going to be confused or having any questions. And quite often, we even see denials happen because businesses are not up to date with the Secretary of State. Okay, you also want to make sure that your business is up to date with Dun & Bradstreet, which is it has a public directory that you can look businesses up at, and we're going to get into that here in a minute. And you also want to make sure that you're updating all of your banks, right? Update your bank accounts, your business checking, your business savings, update your current business credit cards or lines of credit or other lending products. You really want to make sure that everything is just in sync so that if there's any cross-referencing, there's no issues or identity verification that needs to occur. Moving on, make it look professional, right? Classic stuff here. Go on to GoDaddy.com. That's where we have ours, and get yourself a domain. That's the first step. What is your business called? Okay. For us, we went on GoDaddy.com and we purchased the domain Restora Funding. And because of that, if you go on www.restorafunding.com, you're going to find, guess who? Us. That's because we own that domain. We purchased it. And because of that, we can create the .com website, right? Or the .org website, whatever you want it to be. Just have that domain so that you are in control of your brand. And with that domain, you can also create a business email, okay? The business email can be done with a lot of platforms. This can be done with GoDaddy. You can do this with Google, Google Workspace. You could do it with Outlook. That doesn't really matter. But my email is xavier@restorafunding.com, okay? And so if your business is called Global Star, it should be, xavier@globalstarmanagement.com, right? Whatever your business is, just make sure that you're securing that domain and making this all look professional. Also have a business phone number, right? We recommend Google Voice for this. You can pay like $9.99 or so a month, and you can get a professional business phone number, and then you can download the Google Voice app on your smartphone so that any incoming correspondence actually lands into your personal phone number. So when the banks, you're applying and you give them your business number, if they need to call you because underwriting has any questions or they need to send a text to your phone to verify your identity, you're going to get all this, but to your business number, but you're still going to be getting it. And why do we do all this? Well, it's because we show the banks that we separate business from personal, and this makes us look professional, right? This makes us look organized. This shows the banks that our business lives is really an entity in itself, and the banks love that. As for the website, if you're in a rush and you don't have time, you can always hire someone on Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. You can hire a VA for maybe $20 or $30. They can go create a mock website for you using your domain. Or if you're in a rush, it can also say coming soon. That can work in a lot of cases. As long as the banks see that you're making an effort to put your best foot forward and look professional, that'll do. Now, getting into Dun & Bradstreet. Okay, anyone out there who has done research on corporate credit is going to be familiar with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, what is Dun & Bradstreet? Dun & Bradstreet is a company that gathers information about businesses and provides that information publicly. So they're going to use what's called a DUNS number to identify each business. And that DUNS number is basically something that other businesses or lenders can research that tells them all about your business. So this info really helps companies and banks decide if they should do business with other companies, especially when it comes to things like giving out loans. So you're going to want to go on DunandBradstreetDNB.com and create a DUNS number and a DUNS account for your business. And I'm just going to kind of open this page here. Let's go open a new private window. And I'm going to show you an example of one of my businesses. Okay, So I looked up XKB Marketing Solutions. Let's go to Restora XB LLC, and we can see here Restora XB. That's my business. And if you look in the Dun & Bradstreet business directory, which is where we are, you can actually see my business here. So key principal, Xavier Baudet. That's my name. The business address is a residential address. And we can actually even see the industry, right? This is in management consulting services, professional and marketing consulting services. So basically, this is telling the banks or other businesses that this is what I do, this is where it's located, this is who the owner is, and the banks will use this information to basically validate your business. So having a Dun & Bradstreet account set up is really important because Dun & Bradstreet also actually has their own business credit bureau. So when you're going and applying for business credit, you're getting an Amex or a Chase card, for example, they might report that trade line or that lending product to your Dun & Bradstreet account, your business credit profile. We call this corporate credit in the space, okay? So much like if you had a personal credit card or a personal loan, a lot of these business products will start to report to your business credit profile, which can be seen on Dun & Bradstreet. And basically, this makes you more attractive to lenders. So for now, we're just going to talk about setting up that foundation. Go ahead and go to dnb.com and just get that set up for yourself so that it looks good for later on, okay? And the last thing we have here is establish a business checking account. Okay, show the banks you mean business, literally. This is super important. This separates your personal and your business finances, providing a clear overview of your business transactions. This separation is crucial for financial transparency and credibility. So just like earlier when I said, hey, you want to make it look like your business life is its own entity and is separated from your personal. Well, this is one of the reasons why we want to establish a business checking account, okay? Any business that's serious and is bringing in revenue is going to have a dedicated business checking account. And even if this isn't at the bank you're applying for funding at, that's fine. If you want to cold apply at US Bank and go for a business triple cash card, go for it. If you don't have a business checking account, go for it. But definitely have one somewhere. So some banks that we recommend setting up a business checking account at are Chase, Bank of America, PNC, and then if your state permits it, Truist and KeyBank. So KeyBank you'll see up a lot on the Eastern Coast, okay? And the reason we want to recommend business checking accounts at these banks is because all of these banks are pretty relationship oriented, meaning if you have a relationship with them, it's going to make it a heck of a lot easier to get business funding. And when you treat these banks well, they can actually give you quite a lot of funding, even if you're a new business, on the business credit side at 0% interest. So we do want to treat these banks well. We want to do good business with them. So we always recommend establishing business checking accounts there. And guess what a business checking account is going to require? Your articles, right? Your operating agreement, your EIN letter, your certificate of good standing, your articles of organization. And this is exactly why it's important to have all of these things prepared and ready, right? So anyway, that was today's lesson, guys. Go ahead and follow some of the steps in there. Make sure you have everything set up. This is really going to help you optimize your profile and make you look professional to the banks because like we said, these are your business partners. The banks are your investors. Do yourself the service of setting up this foundation now so that when you walk into the banks, you're putting your best foot forward and you're making them want to lend to you because you look legitimate. And lastly, if you have any questions about structuring your business the right way for success, email us, right? Email us at service@restorafunding.com. That's our domain, Restora Funding, right? And that's our professional business email that the banks will see. And so email us there if you have any questions. We're more than happy to have a conversation and just see if we can help you out in some way. Or, hey, if your business is looking professional and you think you're ready to get funded, go ahead and book an action call with us in the link up in the caption. We're getting $50,000 to $150,000 in 0% interest business credit for entrepreneurs, real estate investors, just like yourself, every month. So let's start that conversation. Let's see how we can help. If not, go ahead and stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more videos coming for you guys here shortly. Thanks for coming today. Have a great day.